Oh my god, I almost had a heart attack. One and all, we got into this game and I saw a Mongol TC rolling forward. I was like, have I gone back to 2021? No. We are here in 2025 with a fine man, Demu. Head on the chopping block. Anatan has driven him through 2 games in a row. He's looking to stage a comeback. And it'll begin, if capable, on Gorch. Mongols versus Malians. Gotta say, this matchup, I was starting to kind of like Malian's position in the Pro Scouts meta. It just felt very hard to stop them just getting there. But with the appropriate nerfs that came in with Season 10, I think Mongols actually may be able to have it again. This matchup has a few different curves that Mongols can throw. One is an aggro opening because of the forward spawning resources. The other option for Mongols is delayed aggro into kind of like a semi-fast Imperial build. I don't think you need to do that against Malians on this map. I think the opening aggro just makes way too much sense. I mean, just look at the spawn. They've got the gold. They've got deer over here. Also, wow, okay. Yeah, a lot of the gold and the deer leaning east side. So very clear target for Demu. Anatan, he is going to make the appropriate reaction here. It's going to be a Rax. One thing that's a little bit tricky about Mongol's timing on Gorge, look at the inclination. Look at the vision difference. Doink, doink. So this uphill area is something that Demu can play around. It's going to be very hard to see him coming. And usually when you scout that your opponent is doing the Don's opening, the correct reaction is to pull 2 villages. Because one's very, very risky. Because if you see, yeah, you see his opponent's done it straight away. Now that he knows this, if you pull just 1 villager, and wow, he decides not to. Okay, so like if you pull on the 1, you're going to get sniped. If the Donzos get the first volley off before you build the outpost, before you start building it, it's very probable, like 95% you're going to die. So instead of even risking a tour with 2 villagers, Demu just says no. Yeah, because now all of a sudden he's weighed up the investment logic. He's going to scale into 1 or 2 extra spears here, because there's a chance that Donzos might counterattack. But now with your opponent already prepping up to 3 Donzos, it's debatable whether it's even worth attacking. In fact, it looks like Demu is waiting to see if Anatan comes to him. Even if he does, it doesn't guarantee a win in a fight for Mongols, guys, because like the funky thing about this clash is these Donzos have melee. Makes them very chunky. You're mitigating 15% of the damage your opponent's doing. It's a lot. And that's before we talk about the fact that you have the hybrid attack, which makes it very easy to kill secure injured spearmen. Love this. Okay, can we just like give some appreciation to Anatan? I think he's been one of the most on-it players for this. Any type of opening, dervish, military school spearmen, Donzos, anytime he's forced to build Dark Age units, if he sees his opponent has been pushed off his plan, this is his immediate reaction. He always goes to the deer shell. It's such a powerful play. Well, apparently it is time to rally forward, so unlikely we see an outpost. Oh, he's going for it. Wow. Okay, I thought he might just settle for burning the pit mine, but no, he wants it. So this is a trade-off then. Anatan will get his age up. He'll get the deer in, but he'll likely lose the pit mine. Oh, you cheeky son of a gun. Once in a blue moon, it comes out. It's a Saharan trade network game. And the spearman, you can't dive this. No. So this is a little bit rough. He can try to burn down a few houses. Needs to pay back the investment into spears because he went pretty hard in this. I think he's produced up to 11. I feel like he actively produced 6 to 7 of those. Needs to be outpost on high ground. So reminder, Anatan can't actually see this. Obviously will once the landmark goes up, but like you're not going to be able to actively gather gold. The crux the other way is it's going to be very hard though for Demu to burn down the extra houses. So he's like, well, if I'm not going to be able to gather, I might as well get houses up while I can. And he can build another one here, right? Wait, what? Anno, what? Kind sir, that's an outpost. Chill. This psychopath is like, you will gather. I'll just cycle you guys out between arrow fire. You'll be fine. course, Ben is going to be going Deer Stone. Silver Tree pretty much is never, ever, 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 ever seen on Gorge these days. Is insanely rare. In general, Silver Tree has become very rare, but like on Gorge, I think it's just too much forward exposure on trade. And too much setup time. Like, you have to build the Silver Tree here, and you have to pack it up and wheel it all the way to the corner. It's a very, very long way. There might be a build that comes back in where you Silver Tree on the stone to begin with double production and then pull. So you could, like, double trade it twice and then pull, but I think it's going to be incredibly situational. Like, in theory, trade is really good on this map because it's diagonal. In practice, it's just too exposed for a Civ that can't defend themselves. And Anno is caught being a greedy mother ducker. Donzos, for some reason, don't want to save a life. That's a bit rude, but it's fine. The charge runs out. He'd already used the maneuver speed arrow, so no Villy losses here. Blacksmith immediately, and it is going to be archery range plus the racks. So you're probably just going to not really invest in many more racks units here, and straight up into the archers. He could technically just go Javs to poke defend, but obviously Javelins aren't that good against Spearmen. He doesn't care, though. He is going for it. Yeah, probably because he's assuming his opponent's going to go archers, which is the correct read. Wait, if you're Demu, after what's happened in this game so far, can you not just chill and breathe? Any mod around got a question? I actually need to get more mods. What's the question? Yeah, I think Doom is going full greed. Okay. I'm not even sure if it's that memey to turn this into an fast Imperial game. It's problematic, though. We have got Rams coming. And what is up, Trogdor? Appreciate the Prime sub. Thank you, mate. Keep those pumping, folks. Thank you. Is it KPMM? So to the title, you can add KPMM and like exclamation KPMM if you've got like a command. And then the other thing that's just safe to do is like just at Killer Pigeon. Most people will do those two. It's just obviously a bit more space efficient than having someone type out Killer Pigeons in Boost Moscow. And thank you very much, Fat Blob. Appreciate the gifted sub. So, Ram to clear the way. This is going to give access to the gold again. Anatan realized that he couldn't play the flanks because this is the crux of Gorge where Malians can look a bit funky. That's why I don't rate them that highly in Gorge, is their secondary goals are really unsafe. Outpost is going to get shunted down. Demu, how many passes? 2 so far. He's actually... Okay, so he's going to play the Age. I thought he'd genuinely just go Greed there. Maybe he feels like with Malians adding in Javs, Donzos, that's too risky. Which is understandable. Like, if you rush Castle Age, you don't already have Springles in the towers, so Javelins can just dive quite freely. I wonder... This is... I don't know if you do Farimba this type of game. Farimba feels really good with Pro Scouts, but he only got 1 deer stack. So you're probably going to feel an urgent need to get more food. Or you could just build more javelins. He's just going to spam javelins. Dimu's mining gold slightly inefficiently. Yeah, Deer Stone offsets some of the problem, but he also doesn't have wheelbarrow. Where's the gut? Okay, so if you're tilted by that small detail... This must make you want to shave your head bald. Yeah, the Gurse is actually not getting used. It'll get used shortly, so I guess it's forgivable in the future, but for now, it definitely feels a bit rough. Like, yeah, it could even be here on the tree line. I think he just forgot about it. He's very focused on attacking early on, and he's kind of there again, going full in. So I don't think his mind is even a tool on the Gur. Like, he's selected it now for wheelbarrow, but outside that, big whoop. And yeah, village is now moving over. So at this stage, that Gur is going to be parked there until the end of the time. Well, I hope not. Like, hopefully he moves it in as time goes on. So Demu must see his win condition is just attacking this gold and blocking. Anatan is not a threat if he can't access gold, because no gold equal no javelins. Remember, this was not a Mansa game, so he doesn't have passive gold from a landmark. It is literally this. And that's why Demu's going after this. If this had been a Mansa, I think he would have been less all-in-y, just because he knows his opponent can scale. The crux of it, though, is like, can Demu actually intercept quick enough to stop the javelins before they can defend? I know, also adding in scouts here, which, yeah, this is definitely not about pro scouts. He just wants something that can kill rams. He's aware. Smart cookie. It's hard to get one by this lad. Other rough part is Demu obviously went mass archers against Saharan Trade Network. And reminder, these have javelin placements in them. So difficult for that reason. Also, if he feels like he's getting all in by archers, honestly worth it to build like 2 extra outposts and get javelin placements. Because when you go for the Saharan Trade Network, it changes the cost of outposts on their upgrades to only be gold for the javelin placement. 75 gold. Really, really cost efficient for a civ that primarily gets a lot of passive gold. Double ram. Double ram. Is this going to be fast enough? Double ram always feels a little bit weird against tier 2 landmarks because they have 5k HP. But I guess free rams also feels really bad in this choke point because you're going to basically halving each other all the way. Meanwhile, Donzo's do peel to the north side, so he has a backup gold up success point if he wants it. Without wheelbarrow, unlikely though. The siege of the houses begins. Villagers are going to garrison inside. Javelin placement stacking up quickly here with the arrow fire as well. That's a lot of purple bodies. Now he's at least refunding on them by killing the buildings. But now we get the warrior scouts. So remember, even if these weren't warrior scouts, just standard scouts also do get bonus against the siege. Meanwhile, those said warrior scouts are actually raiding his tree line. Being a nuisance, just stopping that next wave. Does lose the pit mine. Anno has a lot of gold in reserve though. But this is very frustrating. He doesn't have enough to go age up or afford veterancy. I don't know though. This just feels so expensive for Demu. Like this dive, the tower is the difference maker. Gonzo village is now being pulled, so the rams are going to get cleared. And I understand he might not have the raw military count lead, but the quality is most definitely with him. Damn, I don't know. Like, what would the play have been here for Demu? Maybe a few Keshiks? You're diving static defenses. It doesn't feel good. Keshiks die really quickly to emplacements. I know. Are you kidding me? He will not be faced. I mean, he's got 18 javelins. Oh, I'm starting to sense a Frio. I feel for him as well. Demu, he tried to be a little bit, I don't want to say unorthodox, but like the delayed outpost timing, definitely not really where you want to find yourself. But I think that was the thought process. As on the opening, he'd already kind of been counterblocked, so he wanted to try and turn it into a victory a little bit down the line. But can't fault Anatan's reactions. I think he's been on point with this. And, usually Farumba can feel very risky. He's going to be limiting on his food access now because of this. But the whole point is the Javelin is going to give you access to the map. So Demu, what he needs quickly is castle into probably a Keshik switch here. I mean, what else can you really do against Javs? Like, maybe you go Horseman, but the problem here is Demu doesn't have great income. I'm half tempted to say I prefer him to just go Imperial, but I just don't know how you get Imperial here. You've got 0 outposts. You haven't got much stone, so you can't mass emplacement. Javelineers are really fast as well. There's no way your opponent stays in his base anymore. And here we go. Springs the move. Javelineers going to hop on their broomsticks and go flying. And Demu, there's just no retreat from this. He already used the maneuver speed arrow. He's going to turn and burn for the fight, but this is a horrible fight. Yeah, this is just ugly. Maybe kills like 4 or 5 javelins and loses everything in return. This is over. So Demu, it's going to be a 3-0 knockout this week. Question mark is, what do you think? Anatan on fire or Demu just not as strong as the previous weeks? I think this is more of the former. Anatan played this series pretty clean. That game 2 is, I think, the one that's maybe going to stick with Demu a little bit, because I know he's been apparently working hard on Knights Templar and solving that puzzle. And it felt like for a moment that game he'd solved it. The other 2, you just have to tip the hat to Anatan the way he's played. Now, underneath the TC, with 5 ranged armor, soon to be 6, you're just never losing this battle. This might make it up on YouTube. I know, it's kind of a curious one. I think game 2 is definitely the most interesting in the series. Check it back in the VODs if you haven't seen it. Or watch it later. Benny Boy will come to an early demise. Man usually makes semis a lot, I feel like, recently. Not this week. Yeah, at this point, he's just kind of processed the loss. Going through the motions because maybe, just maybe, Anatan runs out of resources. But if you can't harass him, that's never going to happen. Sends 1 Javelin to verse the world. He's still going to get a villager kill. Come on. Oh, no, he's pulling himself. That right there is the GG moment. He's rushing outposts to try and protect himself. But there's way too many villagers here. What do you think, guys? Is this going to be Anatan's week? I mean, this was clean. This was very well executed by him on a draft level and a game level. I mean, you know, it's a tough week still, remember. Other parts of the bracket, Louis MT, Luciferon, Vortex, CSO, B, so many names. In fact, we're going to be checking in on the Luciferon set right after this. And it may accidentally delete all his villagers, you never know. Exactly. He may accidentally, like, disconnect. And, you know, because he disconnected, obviously it would have to remake. You know how it is. Like, it's content either way. If I was Demu right now, I'd be rallying for pity subs. I'd be like, I mean, Anno may have won, but who feels bad for me? Can we get like 50 gifted in the chat? Benny Boy, he always has fun with these. And he refuses to wave that white flag. For like, at this point, I imagine KP's probably said it's GG. So if I come back now, he looks like a fool, and I'm the genius. I mean, in fairness to Demu, the thought process here is kind of to do with Javelin's lack of scalability. It's not a comp that really usually ends the game itself, and it also is hard to transition out of. But with a 20 villager lead, that has to be good enough. And also just the idle side. It's not just the 20 villager lead, it's the amount of time in which villagers were not working for Demu. It was kind of crazy. He has got Kurotai marching up. Khan definitely took that like a truck. I think Anoni says slow down, just get home. Like, the funny thing is with Javelin is he doesn't actually need to trade with these at all. He can get away. So usually you'd think Kurotai is pretty good here, but like the one problem you'll have against Javelin is technically they can play in a way that you can never touch them. So if Demu wants to try and go for a Hail Mary punt with archers, he'll need the Deer Stone as well. Because without that, you just get kited. It's an extra tar range and better movement speed. Full pit mine set up as well. This is ridiculous. And that pretty much summarizes everything we were saying about Farimba's weak economy, doesn't it? When a Malian player just has to rush 36 villagers onto a berry patch, it tells you everything. He could be spamming for the cows underneath the TC, but chose not to. Spent everything on Ben? Dude, we've been over this. You do that for the Knights Templar game. That's the place to do that. Alright, here we go. The last Ura, do or die. Kurotai, Deerstone. If he does it, it's the comeback of the week. Maybe even the month. The year? I don't know if I go so far as year, but it would be high up there. The tricky part is if your opponent hides in the back of his base, you can't actually use the auras. I'm not going to keep poking. The Crow type buff is there, though. Anna needs to show a little bit of respect to this. Also needs to finish his kills. Otherwise, the heal might save the day. Didn't we got much left on the flanks? Yeah, okay, he's got loads. Anna's being cheeky, though. He has split off 1 or 2 injured javelins to go hunting for villages. And Rams now. Okay, remember, Rams actually get buffed by the Kurotai. They also get healed by the Kurotai. You did just hear me correctly. So, technically very hard to take down if you don't have melee. And Anatan, we talked about how hard it is to transition off of Javelineers. This is poor man's transition. You have to see this. It's mass warrior scouts to go with javelins. Which feels really weird because you're technically building a double counter to ranged. But it makes sense. Like, your opponent's already scaling a few crossbows. He barely has any front line, no spearmen. And you need someone that can also kill rams. So it's the most cost-efficient thing to do if you want to keep building javelins. And look at what it's done to the military difference. After having a big lead, they're now neck and neck. Rams onto the production. Warrior Scouts are going to spring the trap, though. They reveal themselves. The tricky part here is a lack of ranged armor. Only 2 ranged armor against Kurotai buffed archers means you melt. You are cannon fodder to buy time. Not thinking about enough, though. Defense arrow gets activated. Demu value staying alive over attacking quicker. Javelins on the back end. We're able to snipe 1 or 2 villages, but are going to be pushed away. Ben, is this actually happening? It's 30 javelins. The problem that Demu is going to keep having here is the initial approach. Rams have at least done a good job of slowing things down, taking out some buildings, and as a result, paying for themselves. Line formation is just proving to actually be Anatan's worst enemy. Oh my god, those health bars. I mean, he might have 31 javelin in raw number, but in spirit, they're more like 22. It's actually switching so far. Oh, but Demu's been prepping crossbows. This is freaking crazy, man. I feel like recently this Farimba build has been the one that so frequently has this, and it's over, but it's not, type feeling. Something that Demu will know very well. A few weeks ago, just felt like all I was seeing him do was play Javelin. I mean, at what point does it make sense to just chill pill for a little bit and bring the imams over? Especially these A-clicks just waste so much effort to kill a single man at arms. And look at that, Anatan, he was at 30 Javelineers at the start of that. Oh my god. Demu is not human. So crossbows are now here, so the sofa should eventually get cleared, but a lot of the archers are wasting fire there as well. Important armors wasn't in yet, so Anatan definitely in a bit of a pain point with that detail. Economy's still not being harassed. Like, that means Anatan can keep building behind this. The army's spinning on both sides. Yeah, this is the point where the dive gets a little bit weird for Demu. Because double arrow fire, plus the fact you just don't have enough to insta-kill javelins, it just feels like a bad trade. He needs to reset back to the Kurotai again. Villagers pull to deal with the ram. So far, are going to mop that up. So nicely played there. There's 4 javelins left over. He's going to pull back. Honestly, like, Demu kind of puffed up chest for a moment here, but maybe a little bit asthmatic all of a sudden. It feels like he's out of breath. Keeping this push going is getting difficult. Can you explain why it's so hard to transition for Farimba Javelin? Because Javelin require this idea of a critical mass. So to be a power stack, they need to reach X number. That number always just keeps growing because your opponent's building units in response. And in very big bloated fights, Javelins on their own are great at skirmishing, bad for static fights as we're seeing here. They suck at static fighting because their attack speed betrays them. Very good at poke raiding, terrible against all-ins. And usually the issue with Javelins is it doesn't necessarily stop your opponent from getting to an all-in unless you skirmish constantly. Because the reality check is me having 50 Javelins doesn't technically end the game. I can't blow up your buildings. That's the difference, right? The issue is because you don't have Fulani economy, getting away from that becomes even more difficult. You don't have the extra income that you normally would as Malians. He has 0 cattle ranches. He hasn't been booming cows to eat. He's actually adding in farms at this stage. And that, by the way, is why he's able to get so far. But you saw how long it took. Compared to like a Fulani type build, how quickly we see 2 free unit comps. This time, it was just mass Javelins. And now, Anatan switching into Mangoes. Makes a lot of sense, guys. He's got triple pit mine. He also does have 4 relics behind this. Sneaky gear. Didn't even notice the relic detail until now. And this is where the game gets scary. Demu, he's going to have to hold troops back. I don't know if he can afford to, though. Oh, Anatan! That seeks shelter! Sends him straight down the center, so a few villagers are going to get sniped. Mango does come out. Needs to just turn for a shot. Might as well. It's already in deep. There's no getting away from it. There is no Kurultai buff in this area, so that wallop needs to be repaired. The bounty is adding up, though. Like, Demu, I definitely think it would have been worth getting the upgrade at this stage. You just never know if you're going to get enough to make it worthwhile. This is sick, man. The sofas. I mean, there's a risk of harassed economy now. Demu, where are the troops? He has none. Oh, my God. No, he's one by one getting cut down. I think he realizes now. I mean, he's garrisoned the TC, but this is going to hurt. He needs damage on the other side. Rams are going to target down the mosque. Able to deny 1 the relics. 5th one is on the way home, by the way. These sofas are critical, man. They may have just won the game. There's no quick reaction to them. He doesn't have Yam in the area. The spearmen are dying 1 by 1. They are not even veteran. Oh my God. Demu needs a big hit now. Unlike the Javelins, these guys much swifter at getting those worker kills. This is ridiculous. Just a handful of sofas to ruin it all. Meanwhile, all we can do is blow up more buildings to get payday. Now the sofas jump in here as well. Oh no. Crossbow count's only 5. Remember, he hasn't been getting reinforcements for the last minute plus. That's a wipe of the army. Just Javelins was something Demu could hold on against, but this is now feeling unrecoverable. Man, he played so well as well. I gotta give a lot of credit to Demu for surviving this long, for giving us hope of a comeback. But with mass sofa flood on the way, Demu with barely any food income, I'm struggling to believe, even in this small percentage chance now. Well played, though. Ark, I kind of respect it. Well, definitely respect him for not doing the GG out when we thought it was over. He definitely had Anatan shaking a little bit there with that dive. When he had Siege on the front side of the base and Archer Mass over Javelin, like, the game took a complete curveball towards Demu. But Anatan, firm defender, man. And now this is the critical hit. The thing you can't be about. What I was worried about the most. The retreat. Kurultai doesn't get away. Deerstone is irrelevant. It's the Kurultai that matters. Wait, what? How did it... It doesn't matter. It's still going to die. Oh, props to Benny Boy. Maybe a 3-0, but he definitely made it an interesting one with game 2 and 3. Anatan, I mean, this is ridiculous. 30 farms spread out wide, and there's just 0 raid. It shows you, like, Demu, like, ideally what he needed was raiders, but where do you fit that into the economy of things? He needed everything on the front side. crazy to think how different this game could have been with maybe 1 or 2 Keshiks, but now, oh no, you're never getting that Kurotai back. Anatan wants you out of this game. He wants this series wrapped up, and he knows exactly how to get it. But wait, says Demu, I can just move my TC away. So like, I'm just gonna move my town center to like the tree line, and then I don't care, right? Right? I don't think that's. There it is. Wave of the white flag. An admirable last stand by Demu in game number 3, but Anatan with a flawless 3-0 victory.